Hey y'all, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I am back with another live. I don't have my usual intro today. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. Um, I was gonna come on yesterday, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't. It's certain things, and this is not me trying to like virtue signal or act like I'm a good person. It's just certain things I need a little bit of time to process. And like I just can't. If something like that, hey Alexis, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you, sis. Um, I just can't. When certain things happen, I can't just hop right on camera. It's too much. It's overwhelming for me. I'm sorry, y'all. My service is acting up. Hopefully we can get through this video. Um, Certain things is just it's too much for me. I can't come on camera and talk about what I saw, the video that I saw yesterday. There's no way that I would have been able to like come right on camera and talk about it. And I've been so pissed off, y'all. Like I've been trying to I think with things like this, you gotta calm yourself and like get a level head because it's so easy to get angry. It's so easy to be angry. Like, it's so easy to fall. Mine has been too today. Yeah, yeah, but hopefully it's better now. Yeah, it's so easy to get angry. So, for those of y'all who don't know, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows, this man was so influential that the entire world is saying his name. That's how much of an impact he had on people, whether you agreed with him or disagreed with him or liked him or didn't like him. But Charlie Kirk was murdered in cold blood in Utah on a college campus doing what he normally does. And as of right now, we really don't have much information as to who did it and why. And that's one thing I will say. I know a lot of Republicans are upset and we want to assume, even me at first, we want to assume that it's somebody that is, a leftist that did it. But honestly and truly, we don't know. We don't know who did it and we don't know why it was done. Some have speculated that he kind of began to speak up a little bit about what was going on in Gaza. So it might have been a hit by them people on them that other side. I don't like talking about them over there because if it's one thing that both sides of the aisle cannot talk about or criticize, it's that government. I don't even want to say that people. It's that BB government. So some people said that, some people are speculating that. What I will say is whoever did it, that was a shooter. Okay? That was a sharp shooter. This wasn't an amateur or somebody that was inexperienced at all, not by a long shot. And this was somebody who did it on top of a roof, is what they're saying. Initially, they thought they had the guy, they had an old man, then they had another suspect in custody. So the FBI is working hard trying to get the suspect in custody. But honestly and truly, at this point, I don't even know if I can just trust the situation. I'm not saying him actually getting unalived is a hoax. I'm saying this man was speaking so much truth. I don't know if this was done to set an example, or I don't know if this was just some crazed liberal who thought that they were doing a service to humanity. It could have been one of the two things, right? At this point, we don't know. But what I do know, what is clear and what is evident to me, if it wasn't evident before, is not only that has the left lost its mind, but they are vile, evil, vengeful, and spiteful creatures. And there are some people on the left, I would argue they're in the minority, especially if we're talking about black people on the left. I'm just going to keep it all the way honest. The majority, you got a few of us who are on social media who were like, what the hell? But that we were already conservative. I don't see too many black Democrats are making jokes. I'm going to the store. y'all want something, and they think that's not the same thing as applauding the death. Don't play these mind games with me. I know when y'all are being petty and mocking something. I'm a part of the culture. Oh, we going to the store. Y'all want something? I'm going to Popeyes. Y'all want something? Anyways, going to get my hair done. Like making these comments under post about him, and then they're acting like that's not vile or malicious. Some are outright praising the fact that he died, and it's all because of the fact that he had an opinion or because he criticized the black community. What you say, Alexis? And on that one video, the guy limping and looked younger. Me neither. Yeah, I don't know if we can trust the situation. I don't know. I don't. Even if they catch somebody, I don't know. It's crazy because I'm in Peru right now, and I was walking in Parque Kennedy. And for those of y'all who've never been to Peru, there or Peru for us gringos, there is a park that was dedicated to President John F. Kennedy. It's the most beautiful park here in Lima in Miraflores. And it's crazy because when I first came here and I went to Park at Kennedy, I didn't read the plaque. So I didn't realize that, oh, this is actually named after John F. Kennedy. Of course, his name crossed my mind, Kennedy, right? But I'm like, they couldn't have named their most important park after an American president. And I walked to the front of the park today and I saw the actual like plaque and headstone honoring him. And I was like, wow, like this man was so influential that in a whole nother country in South America, they dedicated an entire park to him. And it's beautiful. One of the most peaceful places that you can go to, and it has houses for cats and everything like that. And I immediately thought of Charlie Kirk. And people can say what they want to say, but you got to applaud a man that's brave and he speaks his truth. I didn't always agree with everything he said, or there were times where, especially when it came to situations like um women. Like I remember I was watching him make a video and black people got so upset about this. And he was like, black people are so concerned about racism when one out of every black child, only one out of four black children is raised by both of their parents. Meaning 75% of y'all are not even being raised by your mother and your father. That's a way bigger problem than racism. And black people got upset about that. And I'm like, it's true. How you grow up and the manner in which you're reared, and whether or not you have a father who is strong and provides discipline and guidance, that does determine that you're a lot of people's future. These children right now, we have a YN epidemic. For those of y'all who don't know what a YN is, it's these young black youth, particularly the black men, running amok and committing all kind of crimes and murders. So when he said y'all biggest problem is not us, it's the fact y'all don't even have fathers in the house. A lot of black people got upset about that. But he told the truth. The most revolutionary thing that you can do as a black man today is stay with your child's mother. Honestly and truly, that if you're like, dang, how can I change outcomes for black America? The best thing you can do is stay home and focus on home. And I promise you the situation would turn around 1000%. And guess what? That's not something that a lot of black people haven't said. But because Charlie Kirk said it and he was a white man, he's automatically deemed a racist. Now, where I disagreed with him is that he said the reason for all of this is because black women divorced black men and turned to welfare. And I don't think that's the whole picture. I think some of it is the picture. I think welfare allowed black women to be more reckless, is what I say. I feel like before you had to be more selective about who you laid down with, who you partnered with, because at the end of the day, you weren't going to have the government to fall back on. Now, black women don't really have to think about that. They can date the man who was handsome, but he doesn't have a job. They can date the man that is a hobosexual, right? Because at the very least, they can apply for food stamps. So I think in that regard, I can understand what Charlie Kirk is saying. We did become reckless and irresponsible in how we choose to mate and partner. You also had the pill that came into place. So women are more women have these conversations in front of me all the time. I'm not a person that sleeps with people just for fun. If I sleep with a man, I see something in him that is like that would be a good father. Like if I had a child by him, I would be 1000% sure that he would help me. At the very least, he would help me take care of the child. So my daughter's dad, I can call him and ask him for whatever. He's not a deadbeat father at all. She can go with him the entire summer, like all of that. But a lot of black women don't even think about things like that. So in that regard, he was correct. But at the end of the day, a lot of these men just simply don't want to be fathers. And that's a reality that people are not ready to deal with. So this man was basically hated because he told the truth. I'm going to pull up some of these clips. Give me a minute. We're going to pull up some of these clips of Charlie Kirk on these college campuses. And the reason why people are mad at him and hate him and feel like he deserved to die. And y'all let me know if y'all feel like this is death worthy. What's going on? Tatiana Zero. Why am I locked? Give me a second, y'all, because I'm locked out of my Instagram again. This happens like every other week. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna go to TikTok. Now, here's the thing. I feel like the left has had a problem for a very long time with dissent. It's so crazy to me. So there was apparently it was put out that if you are an immigrant and you say something apply to Charlie Kirk's death, that your visa could potentially get revoked. Now, let me say this. I agree with free speech and I agree with free speech for everybody. Whether or not you are mocking somebody's death or not, I agree with free speech. Where I draw the line is if you make an actual threat towards somebody's life or if you call on somebody to get unalive. But it is perfectly, I don't condone it and I think it's valid and disgusting, but it's within people's rights to say that they are happy about it. So, but as far as being an immigrant with a visa, you got to know when you come to other people's countries that you can't do what you want to do. And I'm saying this as somebody who is in a foreign country other than my own right now. And I was in Colombia for a year. I'm going back in January. I don't get on the internet and say what I want to say about their government. The only time that I really just go in, I remember there was a conservative senator named Miguel Uribe who was assassinated last month. Oh, I'm glad I'm bringing this up. In Colombia, gun laws are very, very strict. What does that look like? The entire citizenry that is law abiding is unarmed. Matter of fact, it's so strict that as a Colombian, you can't even walk around with a pocket knife. And the reason being is because back in the day, during the Pablo days, Colombians used to walk around with a machete and get upset. And, that's the reason that they say that they can't have them anymore. What this looks like in reality is that the state and the cartels have a monopoly on violence. The state, the cartels, and the criminals have a monopoly on violence. Because make no mistake, people are walking around Colombia with guns. It's just not the people who care about going to jail. So, what does that look like? Well, when they run up on you, I was just watching a video last week. There was a taxi driver, some guys on some motorcycles with a gun ran up on the taxi driver, went through his car to try to steal things, took all his money and his valuables. And this is in broad daylight in the middle of the street, and nobody did anything. because at the end of the day, they couldn't even bring a knife to the gunfight. To tie this all in, hey Jamal, what's up? Good to see you. To tie this all in, liberals are saying that Charlie Kirk deserved to die because basically he said that he defends the First Amendment rights. And unfortunately, there are going to be some people who do die to gun violence, but he believes it's far more important for us to have the right to have a gun. For some of those reasons I just illustrated, he's articulated this himself. When you take away guns from the general populace, the people who don't care about those gun laws still have guns. And when they want to commit acts of violence on you, they do it free of any concern of you being able to defend yourself. You are at their mercy and their will. With that said, even with the strict gun laws in Colombia, last month, Senator Miguel Uribe was assassinated by a 13-year-old with a gun. Wow. Didn't see that coming, did you? It wasn't even a sharp shooter. This was a 13-year-old with a handgun. Walked up on Senator Uribe and shot him at close range in a country where guns are banned. Wow, would you look at that? So was it Charlie Kirk getting his karma because he believed in Second Amendment rights? Or was it the fact that gun laws don't stop an assassin that's hell bent? And you know that 13-year-old guy, I'm not even going to get into that. See, when I say I can't always talk about what I want to talk about, I can't even really get into it. So it is peak level retardation to say that Charlie Kirk's assassination was karma for him supporting the Second Amendment right. And guess what? I bet you Charlie Kirk is in heaven right now saying, and I still support these Second Amendment rights. People got upset because during the time he was getting assassinated, he was asked a question about the mass shooting. They were actually having a conversation about gun rights. So the person brought up mass shootings. They want to only limit it to school shooting. The liberals don't care about mass shootings when some YNs are just spraying guns in neighborhoods where there are kids and children. And this is happening in liberal cities with strict gun laws like Chicago and New York. When I was 11, had a 22, I knew kids who had Tech 9s and 50 automatics. Were they illegal in your city? I was 6 when I was given my first by my dad. In safety training at age 6, targets at age 8. And there are some people who say, I'd rather my child, if they're going to be around it, I'd rather them know how to handle it. And that's their right. There was a reason people forget the inception of this country. And I'm not here to get into a whole debate about gun laws, but people forget the reason why that was even put in the Constitution to begin with. People forget about what happened during the American Revolution and how they tried to disarm the population, force them to quarter soldiers. So anyway, people feel like he deserved to die over that. And what I will say is, in countries where they have strict gun laws, they're still not preventing these assassinations. When somebody wants to assassinate you, they're going to get you. Period. In Colombia, the reason why they don't have mass shootings in schoolhouses is because those schools have fences all around them with barbed wire and very, very tight security. They also don't deal with the same type of mental health issues. You don't see a whole bunch. Are there like blue hair, even like Medellin? Medellin is the most like liberal that you're gonna get in Colombia. And I still don't see half as many people walking around here talking about they're one born a woman, but they really a man, and born a man, but they really the woman, and walking around here with all type of different color hair, all of that. Like you don't see that much of it. And Medellin is as liberal as it gets in Colombia. The most western town, Scottsdale, Arizona. Wow. Okay. Arizona in the house. So, and we'll go through them. It's just really sad. I was talking to this girl and she was like, I was like, she got upset with me because she was like, well, people don't just supporting the First Amendment. He was racist, he was hateful, he didn't like black people, and she acted like she was schooling me about him, when I'm like, I had to tell her, "There's nothing really you can tell me because I'm an actual conservative." So I listened. I didn't just listen to clips of him, get upset, click off, and form an opinion. No, I actually listened to these talks. I listened to these debates. So you're not informing me about this, ma'am. Ma'am, you are the one that is ill-informed. It's just like how before Joe Rogan even voted for Donald Trump, before he even considered voting Republican, Joe Rogan had been a Democrat all his life, and all because he didn't agree that trans women could be, uh, actual women, then they started calling him ultra right, alt-right, conservative, when he was on your side. Then Trump gets elected, then he does this whole interview, helps Trump gets elected. Here goes the left. We need our own Trump. Well, you had him. You had him. But you're so quick to judge and hate people if they step a little bit out of line or don't all the way fully align with your thinking. You had him. Matter of fact, he invited Kamala Harris on the show, but she didn't want to do that long form interview. Joe Rogan is most definitely conservative. It depends on who you ask, because Joe Rogan supports, gay marriage. Joe Rogan supports abortion. So if you ask a traditional fundamentalist Christian conservative and they listen to some of his views, they're gonna say, "No, his all of his views don't completely align with mine." No, Joe Rogan is what a Democrat used to be, like in 2000. So, anyways, the girl got upset with me and she was like, "Oh, he hated black people." And I'm like, "No, he didn't." I said, "Here's the unfortunate reality is that black people don't like being told the truth about themselves. Point blank, period. They just don't." And a lot of these conservatives, I notice, will give the same criticisms that black people will give of other black people when we're at home or at the kitchen table. But when a white person says it, it's a problem. Just like the whole black people getting upset because Charlie Kirk brought out the fact that 75% of black children are being raised without both their mother and father in the home, and black people wanted to get upset about that when I can literally go on Facebook every day and find my friends on Facebook. I can find a lot actually complaining about their absentee baby father. So even y'all think it's a problem, but when the white man says it, it's racist. Okay, so I'm gonna go to some initial reactions. What is that music playing? Okay, so on TikTok. Let me pull up a black woman that has some sense. And here's the thing: black people that wasn't raised ghetto, or maybe you were like me and I was raised a little bit ghetto and came from a bad circumstance. And I've been in and out of the juvenile system. I came up in foster care. But you know what? I chose to change my life. And once I decided I wanted to change my life, then my life changed. And even now, I'm still in the process of continuing to hold myself accountable. Every time I think about trying to blame somebody else or blame somebody else for my life, I think about my part in the situation. But anyway, y'all, let me know how the sound is. Put a one in the chat if I sound good. If I sound muffled, you can't hear me, let me know. Okay, here is Hyacinth LC on TikTok.
So Charlie Kirk died today. He was murdered. He was murdered. He was murdered. And people are replaying the video. They're replaying the video as if it's something. They're replaying the video as if it's something to be replayed. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw it
He's
once.
31 years old. And so
I saw it once. I didn't want to keep watching that foolishness. I really was not expecting it to be that bad. And honestly and truly, what's sad is, yeah, he was 31. We were born in the same year. For him to be 31 and have made such an impact, there would be people that would come up to him during these college debates he was having and say, you know what? You changed my life. Or I was a liberal, I was going down the wrong path. And because of you, I work harder, or I'm a different person. And then here you have people who never made that sort of impact in anybody's life because they're too busy playing the victim, who are criticizing a man that was literally out here changing lives by the thousands. Some people say he would have been president. And when you listen to him, whether you like him or not, whether or not you agree with the things he said, you can't deny that he was a political talent. Much in the same way as a JD Vance. Whether you like him or not, he's a political talent. Obama, I don't agree with a lot of his politics, but it cannot be denied that that man is politically talented. So much so that they try to recreate him in a Kamala Harris. But here's the thing about that kind of talent: either you have it or you don't. It's not something that can be cultivated. It's not something that can be faked. Y'all, please hit the like button.
over words. Over words. And it's not just words, it's the truth. You hear me? It's the truth. People hate the truth. And they hate the truth because they hate God.
Hmm. People hate, you know what they hate about God, honestly and truly? They hate the discipline. When you listen to people like Charlie Kirk, even going back to the abortion thing, I don't agree with Charlie Kirk on abortion, but not that I disagree with him because he's wrong. I disagree with him because I feel like the consequences of it not being an option far outweigh us banning it for the morality of it. It's not that he's wrong. It is morally abhorrent. It's a terrible thing to do. A woman should never get an abortion and think of it as anything other than taking a life. You're taking a life. You're deciding that another life that is growing inside you will not pass into this realm. And I think reducing it to just, oh, it's a fetus, that's you trying to dissociate and detach yourself from the responsibility and the weight of what you're doing. If you're gonna do it, put your big girl draws on and understand that that's what you're doing. But also because I grew up in, I grew up in a bad situation. I went through foster care, and I've seen so many kids go into the system whose parents didn't want them, and they were left to be trafficked, raped, unalive. There are so many people that I meet that I know they love sex. They love it. They're never gonna stop doing it unprotected. Even though it's not the right thing to do. They're never You can't pay them to go a month without getting their rocks off. But they should never be children. I'm sorry, they should never be parents. They should never be parents. So it's not that I disagree with Charlie Kirk because he's wrong. I disagree with Charlie Kirk on whether or not it should be available to women, because at the end of the day, I know that a lot of people ain't shit. So I rather spare a child the abuse. I It just is what it is. But he's not wrong for telling women, if you don't want to get pregnant, that's not an accident for most of y'all, because the left likes to bring up rape and incest and all, and for all of that, 1000%. I don't agree with him when he said, there was one clip where he said he felt like he said that if his daughter got raped, that the baby would be born. If somebody raped his little daughter and she got pregnant, that the baby would be born. He said he wouldn't go take her to get an abortion. Me personally, I'm taking mine to get one. But his thought process was something good can come out of it. But at the end of the day, Charlie, you're not going to be the one that have to experience that. you know, but I get the sentiment when he talks about, in general, most abortions happen because people are not having protected sex. That's just the reality of the matter. And people get upset. I'm bringing this back to, people hate God. People hate God because they hate discipline and structure. People hate to hear somebody say, no, life shouldn't always be you doing what you want to do because you feel like it and you think that it's fun. You have to have some discipline and structure and some reasoning behind what you do. No, you shouldn't have men that you sleep with just for fun, knowing he's not material. You should never look at a man and be like, oh, that's just for fun, and give him your body. You're worth more than that. Did he say some misogynistic things like women over 30 are done? Yeah, but to me, that don't apply to me because it don't apply, in my opinion. But here's what I will say: if I was in the room and I with a dangerous man and I needed protecting, you best believe I would trust Charlie Kirk with my life. Even though I don't agree with everything he said about women, I truly believe he believed in protecting women. See, a lot of y'all will get mad at Charlie Kirk, but I remember during the Diddy trial, a lot of these liberal men were victim shaming Cassie and hoping that Diddy got off. And y'all weren't out here canceling them. A lot of you ladies would trust your life with a liberal man who says he believes in unlimited access to abortion, that women should be out here sleeping with whoever they want to, and that they should just be free and do what they want to do, free of consequences. Y'all will trust that man over a Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, that man is not masculine and is not going to protect you. Matter of fact, if somebody was harming you in front of him, he would probably run away or say that's not my business. So me as a woman, even though I don't agree with everything that Charlie said in regard to womanhood, I would trust that man with my life. If he saw me getting harmed and he felt like he could do something, I believe he would. Bill Clinton is the most talented. Yeah, he was very talented. To this day, he's still a political talent. We see people get smoked on Vidal all the time. Okay. Yeah, discipline, structure, and reasoning. No. And I will show y'all some clips later about why they really got mad. A lot of the times, Charlie Kirk would just make really disciplined, structured, sound arguments. And then you will see these liberals just glitch. It's like they glitch. I was talking about it with a friend one time, and she was saying she thinks it's like a demonic possession, and it just might be. But one of the more logical reasonings is a lot of them are programmed, like literally running on a mind control program from mainstream media, like MSNBC. So when they talk to you, they're expecting you to hit them with a certain set of talking points. And when you come at them with something different that they're not prepared for, they malfunction. And I've seen this happen in real time. You know what? I don't know if you have ever heard of Flora Brun, but I have been following her for years now. And be careful who you share your bloodlines with. Absolutely. But when you say stuff like that, Alexis, then they call it eugenics. But not every person is be reproduced. People got upset when Six the Goddess said it, but natural selection is a real thing. Not every man was put on this earth to have a wife and children. Not every man deserves to be selected and carry his bloodline on. Exhibit A, these YNs running around with fathers who didn't want to take care of them out here doing God knows what while they terrorize the community. Those women should have pre selected and said, this man doesn't give father. This man doesn't give present father. This man doesn't deserve to be reproduced. People hate that. They say it's eugenics. I don't care. Call it what you want to call it. And let me be clear in what I'm saying. There are plenty of black fathers who are taking care of their children. That's obviously not the majority. If you only have 25% of black children getting raised with a father and a mother, the ones who are taking care of their children, they deserve to be reproduced. And that goes for any other bad actor or man that doesn't want to be present in any other race. They don't deserve to be reproduced. These were not liberal men. They are fake tough guys who look at him as a black leader. Oh, you talking about Diddy? I think so too. Mind control from mainstream is real. Yes, they're operating on a program. I'm going to show y'all how they malfunction. I'm as progressive as they come, and I hate Diddy. But I think the outcome was a good curveball to get people thinking about the powers that be. Well, yeah, that's true.
I'm over here packing with my girls, and we just got the news. I don't know how to feel because I know there's a scripture that says, when the righteous are taken from the earth, that the wicked consider it. They don't consider that the righteous was just removed from the wrath to come.
Hello. Hello. Woo!
And Charlie Kirk was a man's man. He was a man, and he loved his family. The video is awful. The video is awful. I thought it was AI. I was watching it with my sister here. We were packing. I thought it was fake, but it's not. Demons walk among us
And do.
with flesh, human flesh. They cannot be helped and they cannot be saved
Mm-mm.
because God has given them up and over.
A reprobate mind.
Pray for the family because that's it. Pray for the family. Thoughts and prayers.
I was just talking about this on my last live. Y'all are trying to get through to people who have a reprobate mind. What does that mean? When somebody goes so far and is so rebellious and they go so far from the grace of God, eventually God will just take his hand off you and leave you to your own devices. And a lot of the times, because these people are so indulgent and so hell bent on defending things that are not right, they lose their mind. When you stray too far from what is righteous, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, whatever that might be, if you engage in all type of overindulgent behavior and you see nothing wrong with it, eventually you will lose your mind. She is boohoo crying. Do you know how many of us, our people, including Von, Duck, Mo3, Nipsey, and others, get smoked on video, along with kids getting parts blown off? Not enough tears left for Charlie Kirk here. You don't know who she's cried for. You don't. And here's the thing: King Von, Mo3, Nipsey, love Nipsey. They all chose to participate in that lifestyle. Nipsey didn't want to leave the hood. He wanted to keep it real. They all chose to participate in that lifestyle. And I'm not saying that they deserved it. What I'm saying is when you put yourself in proximity to a lifestyle and culture that glorifies, blatantly glorifies killing other men, then you have opted in to that lifestyle. And it's not right. I'm not saying they deserve to die, but let's be very clear. King Von and Lil Durk that we know of had bodies. They committed murders. Charlie Kirk never killed a soul. Nor did he talk about murdering people like it was sport or brag about it. I don't know this woman. This is the only TikTok video I've seen her make. We don't know who she's cried for or what she's mourned. You know, liberals are putting out videos right now. All of a sudden they care about uh Melissa Hortman. All of a sudden they care about her. It's been 8 yesterday. It's been 8. Let this be a reminder that it's been 88 days since Melissa Portman's death. See, the thing is, y'all only care about these type of issues when you want to be spiteful. Because y'all wasn't giving a damn about Melissa Hortman the day before yesterday. And I remember even when she died, the only reason why y'all talked about it was so that y'all can feel like y'all can dunk on conservatives. None of y'all actually really cared about Melissa Hortman or knew who she was, to be honest. When Melissa Hortman died, for those of y'all who were saying we didn't care, say anything, or we didn't speak up, I did a whole segment on my channel about her. I did a whole segment on my channel about her, and I didn't even know her. Y'all, is my service acting up? I think it's better now. I did a whole segment on my channel. I didn't know her, but I condemned the political act of violence. And I said it wasn't right. And nobody deserved to die. All the other major conservatives that I know of, they covered this. LV Nation covered this. Cartier family covered it. Asmund Gold covered it. Who else? All of them. I watched all of them. So many covered it. And not one time did I hear they deserved it. All of them condemned the act of violence. Point blank, period, without question. So we did cover it. The problem with liberals is the majority of them are unwilling to actually sit down and listen to an entire conversation from a conservative. So they hear clips and they think that is the entirety of the ideology or the conversation. So no, they wouldn't know that conservatives were actually talking about her because they don't come watch us. It's not controversial enough to hear that conservatives are condemning the political violence against the Democrats. You know, that doesn't ruffle their feathers enough. It's tragic, but don't get it twisted. We are numb and jaded. Yeah, I mean that's true. I can't argue with that. Um, I saw somebody like they're making the memes. Y'all know the Django memes where the black guy Samuel L. Jackson's character is like crying because Leonardo DiCaprio got shot, and they were like, "This is what y'all black people look like," and it's like, what do you mean? Because we're not racist. Because there are a lot of black people who supported him because of his message and not because of his skin color. Now we're house Negroes. And this is what I talked about when I said black people can never get ahead in America because every time we try to do right, change our ways of thinking, fly on the straight and narrow, other black people outcast us, call us names, call us coons. You have to literally know that once you try to better yourself, once you cross over and try to see other sides and perspectives and understand what they're coming from, where they're coming from, and possibly agree on some controversial topics, you just have to know that you are excommunicated from the black community. It's a crab in a bucket mentality. Um. Oh, here's what Don Lemon had to say.
Event in Utah. Event in Utah. Event in Utah. Event in Utah.
Why is this not going?
Event in Utah. This event in Utah. This is still breaking. We'll get more details as they become available. Event in Utah.
I don't know why that doesn't want to.
This is still breaking.
It doesn't want to play from the beginning. Give me 1 second. Here's Joe Rogan's
This
reaction.
is just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's fucking awful.
And is he dead?
No, I don't think so.
That's what was just
One of the guys out there just said it was
spoken
confirmed that
in
he's
the
dead.
in the lobby was just
I was looking. I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
Whoa.
murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different
Charlie Sheen. Now you know that you're screwed when Charlie Sheen has more sense than you.
ideology from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Beliefs that didn't
Who did
align.
it or-
Yeah.
I'm
He's
sorry.
dead?
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
We're in
Fuck.
Fox News.
Jesus. 27 years old, maybe 30.
Do they even have a suspect?
I don't know. Well, that's why I don't. I'm literally trying to track it all on Twitter, and it's all
Fuck. Nobody deserves it. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
No one deserves this, folks. No one that has different opinions. No one deserves that.
No.
This is horrible.
No.
I never, during the entire Biden-Harris administration, I never called for the death of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Not once. Not once did that even cross my mind as a possible solution to the situation. My thought process was speak up against them, and I trusted the people to go to the ballot box and handle it. I trusted the people to pull together and speak up against that administration enough to make a difference. So instead of me wishing death on people who I didn't agree with, who I felt like were destroying the country, these were people who were like in real time destroying the country. It's even come out that Kamala Harris had a bigger role in making decisions during that administration than what people initially thought, which again, I knew Joe Biden wasn't making a lot of the decisions or signing off on things. It was clear he had dementia in 2020. What's news to me is the extent to which Kamala Harris had power, because you can't just assume because she's the vice president she had any say in anything. But anyway, not one time, even though we were feeling the effects of the economy, even though we had to deal with all the censorship during the pandemic, even though people lost their jobs because they didn't want to get those inoculations, even though they were calling for people to get treated as second class citizens because they didn't want to get those inoculations, even though our freedom of speech was being censored left and right, that's another thing, the hypocrisy. Them being upset because these immigrants have been warned to not joke about his death online or else their visa might be revoked, which I absolutely don't agree with. But Democrats were perfectly okay with X being censored. So much so that when it got uncensored and after the election, they left. They left. Now they're on a platform called Sky Blue, being as valid as possible. And some might compare that to Truth Social, but the only reason why Truth Social is because at one point you couldn't get on Twitter and tell the truth without being banned. Republicans didn't leave Twitter because their feelings got hurt. There's a difference. Guys, please hit the like button if you're just now coming in. I still don't know how Michi X knows that Charlie Kirk's death is a threat to HBCUs. I guess they scared of Get Back. You know what? I am scared to Get Back. I'm going to say this. I absolutely don't believe that this should be responded to with any type of political violence at all, right? I think we can course correct. I think there's still an opportunity. But there are other people who are saying that this is a turning point. And to a degree, I do believe it is a turning point. For example, I think that you are going to see conservatives who are willing to have a conversation not be willing to come to the table anymore. I was listening to President Milei in Argentina, and he's their first libertarian president. He's a very popular president. He cut out much of the government departments. He cut government spending. He's cut taxes, all kind of things. And he wants to dollarize the economy. He's Donald Trump's friend. And the great thing about that relationship is that Argentina, which is resource rich, was when they were run by liberals, they were flirting with BRICS. And now they have pulled back from BRICS and have chosen to align with the United States. So that's a win for us, whether you like it or not. But anyway, he says you can't give these people an inch. Talking about liberals, the Argentinian president. He says you can't give them an inch because at the end of the day, they want to kill you. Let me see if I can find the clip. Let me see if I can find the clip. He says they want to kill you. And their reaction to this just reinforces that. It proves what he said to me. And again, people can say, oh, us being indifferent is not the same as us supporting his death. If you were indifferent, why talk about it? Indifference looks like you don't talk about something at all. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let me share this.
De mierda no le podés dar ni un.
So it says the president of Argentina won his election insulting the leftists.
Al zurdo de mierda no le podés dar ni un milímetro. ¿Me podés definir?
He says you can't give shit to the leftists. The interviewer asked, can you define shit leftists?
Zurdo de mierda que no
Todos los que digamos los colectivistas.
He said all collectivists, all kinds of collectivists.
Los que ponen, digamos, o sea, esa idea. A ver,
¿por qué le pones de mierda, digamos?
Porque son.
He says, why do you call them shit? He says, because they are shit.
Son una mierda. O sea, si, no, pero es que si pensás distinto te van a aniquilar.
He says, if you think differently, listen to what he says. If you think differently of them, they will kill you. This is the point. And look what happened to Senator Miguel Uribe. And he had just got done speaking up against leftist ideology in his country. Now we have Charlie Kirk.
Ese es el punto. Es decir, vos al zurdo no le
that you can't give shit leftists an inch.
podés dar un milímetro, porque le das un milímetro.
If you give them an inch, they will use it to destroy you. This goes back to what I was saying about when former President Obama got gay marriage through. They should have stopped there. The gays should have stopped there. Right? The whole LGBTQ movement, once they got gay marriage, it should have been over. It should have been conversation over. Y'all have realized equal rights. They can't fire you from your job. You can get married. You can go about living your life. Was that good enough for them? No. After that, now we got to continue to get the LGBT vote. Now we got to come with the trans agenda. Now all of a sudden we hearing about this trans thing. We never heard of it before. They soft launched it in Degrassi. If you know, you know. If you watch Degrassi, then you know. They soft launched it then, but now all of a sudden the gays have realized full equal rights. Now we got to create this trans issue and have everybody arguing and fighting over that for another 10, 15, 20, however long until it's something else. And then meanwhile, the country is becoming more and more sexually degenerate. This isn't even just about trans. Janae Aiko in that song, but he gotta eat the back door like groceries. Y'all remember when it used to be taboo to do oral? Now we talking about putting our mouth on where people defecate. So we have just spiraled into complete degeneracy just by trying to meet them halfway. It's like it's never enough. Same thing when I talk about black people. You could give black people reparations today for slavery. First of all, they the money. The money would go to Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Bentley, the same way all those PPP loans that they're not paying back went to those things. So I'm not saying that racist. That's what they were spending the money on. It is what it is. I know. I saw what they were doing with the money. Okay. So you could give black people reparations today. They would not invest it back in the community and spend it properly. They would spend it on stunting and flaunting and fronting. And then they would find another reason why white people are the reason why they can't succeed in life.
Y lo toma para destrozarte. Es decir, usa, digo, o sea, vos no podés negociar
Can't
con el
negotiate with leftards.
zurdo. No se negocia. No se
You don't negotiate with trash because they will end you.
negocia con esa.
Asmongold was talking about this. They will use your empathy against you. It's kind of like the situation with illegal immigration. Now, for the longest, even somebody like me, they convinced me to completely disregard that when you import as many people as we were importing into our country and have been for a very long time, that now you're going to be fighting against those people plus your fellow countrymen for jobs. And as much as they like to say, oh, well, these people are just picking they're just picking strawberries in the field. They didn't come here for their kids to grow up and pick strawberries in the field. They came here for their kids to grow up and advance in the job market. Understandably so. I'm not demonizing them. You know, go where you can win. And America was letting them win, our government, for a very long time. But now you've introduced more competition into the job market. Whereas you as an American, 9 times out of 10 cannot go to their country and get a job unless it's to teach English. And those jobs are few and far and in between. But you can't just come in their job, their country, and think that they are going to give you a job. Matter of fact, they would probably riot in their countries if that was happening en masse. Man, F this dude. You can say F this dude, but their country was on the brink of collapse. And he pulled that country back from the brink of economic collapse. So you don't have to like him or agree with his opinions, but he's effective. And honestly and truly, that's what matters the most. During the 70s, hundreds of thousands were killed by right-wing nationalists working on behalf of U.S. corporations. Okay, that's fine. And that was wrong when that happened then. If that's what really happened, I don't know. I'd have to verify what you're saying. If that's what happened, that's wrong. I don't believe in anybody dying because of their political opinions at all. But we're talking about the climate of today and what's going on. Like what's been going on now and what's been going on for the last decade.
Mierda, no se negocia porque te van a llevar puesto. Si tienes golpeador
If they the left have a guy that beats his wife off,
que caga trompadas a la mujer, digamos, si es de
if it's one of them,
ellos, ¿entendés? Se pone el pañuelito verde y grita todo el tiempo contra el
on the he's I'm sorry, he's going fast. And he yells, his accent is different. Neoliberalism all the time.
Liberalismo lo ocultan.
And they hide it.
¿Me entendés? O sea, si de repente hay
If suddenly there's a journalist that molests another journalist,
alguien que acosó un periodista que acosa a otra periodista, lo ocultan.
They hide it. When it's one of them, they hide it. This is true. This is absolutely true. And the reason why I know this is because I used to be a Democrat. So when the Democrat Party rigged the election in 2016 against Bernie Sanders, and then they did it again in 2020, most Democrats, only progressives, said something. And those are the ones that left the party and probably voted for Trump this past election. The majority of them said nothing. When they were like not allowing people to vote in certain states during the primaries, not letting them, like it was so much that went on. We're not even going to talk about the machines in Iowa and Pete Buttigieg. We're not even going to talk about that. They say nothing. When they nominated Joe Biden as their representative in 2020, and other Democrats like myself were saying, what are we doing here? This man clearly has dementia. The conversation was, who are you to diagnose him as if you're a doctor? Then a primary comes and goes during 2024. They suppress all candidates like RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson from coming on mainstream platforms like MSNBC. Matter of fact, Fox was the only mainstream platform that allowed Marianne Williamson on. They were changing all the voter laws. New Hampshire filed a lawsuit against them. Democrats said nothing. And then when they pulled a last-minute switcheroo, which was the plan all along because they knew that man, it was evident by then that he had dementia. Democrats didn't shout and react and say, hey, y'all took away our freedom to choose. Y'all knew he had dementia. We should have had bigger primaries, or we should have been given options during the primaries, or y'all should have let them come on mainstream media. Democrats said absolutely nothing. Matter of fact, they expected the rest of us to go along with it. Then all of a sudden, Donald Trump wins, which it was very evident that he was going to be the winner. A genius. If we were able to have a fair and free election, and you were talking to other people, not just in your echo chamber, but you were genuinely talking to people from all different type of backgrounds and listening to them and being non-judgmental, it was evident that Donald Trump was going to win the election. Now, all of a sudden, y'all believe in election rigging. Now, all of a sudden, the election got rigged. Okay. Okay.
Es decir, a todos los de ellos lo ocultan, todas esas
They hide all of those aberrations.
aberraciones la ocultan. Ahora,
Now, if you were on the other
si
side,
vos estás del otro lado, a vos te van a
they will ruin you.
estropear, te van a matar,
They'll kill you. They will throw you everything.
te van a dar con lo que sea. No les
You know what they did to Donald Trump? They don't care if they ruin your whole life.
importa arruinarte la vida. ¿Por qué? Porque no pensás.
Why? Only because you don't think like them. Do y'all remember? This is another reason why a lot of progressives or Democrats left the party during the Rona. Do y'all remember how many people they got fired? They were getting people fired from their jobs, left and right, all just for having a different opinion. You had a different opinion of them, they were for sure finding out where you work, calling up your job, doxing you, vengeful, hateful. Oh, if you didn't want to get that shot, you don't deserve to have a job. They wanted you to be a second-class citizen, unable to feed and provide for your family because you were making a choice over your own body. Remember, my body, my choice. And then the narrative was, well, this has to do with you affecting other people's health. Well, ma'am, common sense would tell you that if it worked the way they say it worked, that if you get it, you're protected. Why do I have to go get it? That's not how that works, ma'am.
Como ellos. Y
And do you know what is the good part in all of this?
¿sabes qué es lo bueno de todo esto? Hay algo bueno en todo esto. Porque
Because since to err is
como el error es humano, como todos nos
since everyone can be mistaken,
podemos equivocar, ¿sabes qué nos obligan?
they force us to be better. And that is the good thing. I honestly believe that part of the reason why Donald Trump is probably not in the White House philandering is because he already knows I have to watch my every move. And I think he's genuinely changed, right? But he knows that he has to walk a righteous path. So it forces you to clean up your act and not be overindulgent. If you know that people are always looking for a reason to exploit what you're doing.
a ser mejores. Y como estamos
And since we are getting better than them,
siendo tan mejores que ellos, como los estamos aplastando
since we are crushing them in the cultural battle,
en la batalla cultural, los estamos pasando de arriba, porque no solo le
we're
ganamos en lo
not only
productivo,
superior economically, we are morally superior. If you think he's lying, think about it this way. All Democrats do is make excuses. I'm not saying there are no successful Democrats who have not been successful in their careers and businesses, but think of how much further ahead they could get if they drop the victim mentality. Democrats don't promote a mentality of success and discipline. They promote a mentality of victimhood. What do I mean by that? You can't get ahead, or the reason why you can't get ahead is because you're black or you're gay or you have what is that? ADHD, or you have autism, or you have some type of ism, right? Or you have some type of handicap that's holding you back in life, and people are discriminating against you, and that's why you haven't got far ahead. Meanwhile, on the right, you know what they're telling their people? If you go to the gym, if you pray, if you eat right, work 16 hours a day, work your ass off, start the business, you can do it. Nothing is stopping you. Nothing is holding you back. Who do you think is going to get further ahead in life? The group of people who feel like something is always holding them back, or the group of people who are like, I don't care about anything, any of that. Whatever obstacles that come my way, I can overcome it. I'm a conqueror. Everybody had these are things I tell myself every single day because I have my good and my bad days, my ups and my downs and my struggle. And again, y'all know if y'all been watching my channel for a long time, y'all know I haven't had an easy life. But every time I want to fall into victimhood, I remind myself it's somebody that woke up with no legs today. I have the opportunity to walk. It's people that woke up brain dead today. There are people who woke up with a 75 IQ. But look at the gifts that God has bestowed upon me. So I gotta get up and I gotta make it happen. And I can't give up. And I can be successful. Nothing's holding me back. And I might not be where I want to be right now, but if I keep on with this mentality, I will. Who do you think has a better shot at making it in this life? Somebody who's sitting around mad, upset, feeling like somebody or another group of people or a different race owes them something, so they're sitting around waiting on the handout. Or maybe they're not waiting. Maybe they're working, but they're not getting as far as they could because they're walking around with resentment and animosity. These are the type of people you telling them you want to lose weight. They're telling you, oh, it's your genetics. People are fat because they're genetic. I could go on and on about their mentality. I could go on and on about their mentality. It is a defeatist mentality. Sorry, it is a defeatist mentality. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You have black people saying that Charlie Kirk was a racist. Meanwhile, we glorify the music and the people that are promoting the destruction of our community. We glorify people like Amanda Seals who are constantly preaching victimhood to black people and acting like we can't get ahead unless white people give us reparations. Again, a lot of y'all got y'all reparations during the scamdemic. I'm not even gonna hold you. I know a lady that got 3 PPP loans, each worth $150,000. Y'all were running PPP loans, scamming rings during the pandemic. And look at what you did with the money. A lot of y'all don't have that money today. And don't have to pay it back. That's how good y'all were at scamming. I'm pro-worker. It's leftist unions that got you all the rights. Don't get it twisted. Let me tell you something. I know very well the history of labor unions and people. We used to not have an 8-hour workday. Don't get me wrong. I see the value in it or the value that it had. That's not these people. That's not these same people today. And a lot of that was a coalition of populists. It wasn't just left versus right. This is a coalition of working class people. I don't have any problem against workers' unions, workers' rights. That is far different than people who want to cancel you and want to starve you and your family out because you say a man can never be a woman. That is not a cause worth fighting for. That is not a hill to die on. And there's nothing honorable about it. The fact that you moved to another country is to be commended. That is amazing. Some can't even move to another city. I mean, I could do a whole video about it. But honestly and truly, people say it's amazing. Thank you, Alexis. People say it's amazing, but honestly, I don't feel like I did anything major because I feel like it would be something to be more commended if I was scared to do it in the first place, but I wasn't. That's just not my personality. I feel like it's more commendable when somebody does it, but they had to overcome some fear to do it. But like, I'm a true Gemini and we're just feral, wild people at heart. So I wasn't scared to do it at all. I didn't have to overcome. I guess what I will say is once I decided to do it, I worked my butt off and only slept like 3 hours a night for 6 months to make it happen. Right. I had to like work in a very short amount of time, get up the money that I needed to do it. But I feel like it's not as big of a deal as people make it. But I appreciate you like acknowledging it. But I feel like it's something any do. People just have a lot of fear, 40-hour week, family leave, maternity leave, benefits, and even healthcare system. Again, I believe in all of that. But all this other stuff, I don't agree with.
Somos superiores moralmente, somos superiores.
And we are aesthetically superior. He ain't lying. Do y'all know liberal women? And again, I'm saying this as somebody who has struggled with my weight, still continues as I'm getting older. I'm in my 30s, still trying to keep my weight in check, watch what I eat. Liberal women were the ones who were pushing the fat acceptance movement. Liberal women were telling other women it's just your genetics. You're just made like this. You're always going to be this way. I remember I was having a conversation with some severely overweight women who got upset with me because I was saying that I was working out, I needed to lose weight, and I was talking about how unhealthy it was that I had this extra weight on me. They both got upset and was like, "People can't control that. It's all genetics. People being overweight doesn't cause diabetes or cancers or any health issues. It's all genetic." Fast forward to like 3 years later, I see both of those ladies, they're friends. I guess birds of a feather flock together and go out and eat and drink and be undisciplined together. I see them in the gym trying to work out. Conservative women know to do this. They know. They don't even overweight conservative women, they don't walk around talking about it like it's an acceptable way of being. They just are like, I don't care. I don't give it up on my body. I got other things to think about. But they don't say it should be accepted. They just don't give a damn whether you accept it or not. But they're not trying to force it on you. Uh, I'll say this. Conservative masculine men do tend to stay in the gym and keep themselves in better shape than liberal men. Same thing. I live in Canada. It's going down the toilet. Toronto people are fake, but I'm very appreciative of how I've been taken care of due to mental breakdowns and my kids losing their marbles. Well, I'm glad that you've been able to get support, and I'm not saying people shouldn't get support. I'm not saying that. But again, it got to the point where the things that the left were fighting for were not worth fighting for, or the things that they were fighting for were putting our country in danger, putting the American worker at risk. We can't say we're pro workers' rights and labor's unions, but then you're importing a whole new population who is willing to do your job for little of nothing. What does that cause? That causes wage suppression. But they do things like this and try to convince you nobody wants that job. Like at these factories and these warehouses. Who used to work those jobs? Who used to? But they would totally work that.
Estéticamente, somos
We are better than them at everything.
mejores en todo y les duele.
And that triggers them. That's true. I'm gonna show y'all a post I had up about Charlie Kirk. I was talking about this yesterday. I saw a man that only gets on. This is one of my Facebook friends. All he does on Facebook is talk about how women ain't ish and how he's a Muslim and he wants to have 3 wives. Meanwhile, he can't even get and keep one woman. And he was talking about Charlie Kirk. Niggas die every day, B, and he deserved to die. Whoopie whoopie. He was saying all this. And it's like, sir, before you put the name of a man like Charlie Kirk in your mouth, before you part your ashy lips to speak on a man like Charlie Kirk, you need to ask yourself, am I half the man that he is? This man started a business turning point while he was in college. employed hundreds of people, put money in hundreds, if not thousands of people's pockets, definitely hundreds, did charity work, had a wife who he courted. His wife talks about their love story all the time. Had a wife, one wife that he courted and treated right and was able to keep, and had 2 beautiful children. Meanwhile, you can't even get one woman to stay with you or like you because your personality is so vile. And you're over here fantasizing about having multiple. And you part your dusty, crusty lips to celebrate the death of a man that you would even be lucky to even be a fraction of what he was. You don't even measure up a fraction of a fraction to who he was. And you want to speak on his name. This man outcompeted you by a long shot. Like, he could take a vacation for the next 20 years and you still wouldn't be able to catch up. Liberal professional Black women are very uppity, two-faced, divisive, and opportunistic. I'm pro NDP. I side with protesters and civil servants and some college and university professors, heroic people. I side with what's right. You know, I side with who is right.
Les duele. Entonces, como no pueden
And since they can't beat us with real arguments, hello,
pelear con las herramientas legítimas, se apalancan en el aparato represivo.
they just use the repressive apparatus of the state. Do y'all remember when Mark Zuckerberg admitted, this was after Donald Trump got elected, he went on Joe Rogan and he admitted the Joe Biden administration would call him, cussing him out and threatening him for not censoring information about the pandemic on Facebook. See, when they can't win the argument, they try to shut you up. Now, I don't know who took Charlie Kirk out. It might not have been a liberal at all. It might have been a paid hit. But President Malay, he's not lying when he says these people want to shut you up. And they will do it by any means necessary.
El Estado poniendo
with loads of taxpayer money to destroy you. They will use your own money against you.
torres de guita para hacernos mierda. Y aún así.
And yet they're still losing. Look at God. Come on now. It happened here in the United States. How much money did Kamala Harris spend? How much of your money, not of you conservative, how much of you liberals' money did she blow through? She outspent Donald Trump by like hundreds of thousands on her campaign, paid to get on these podcasts. Donald Trump went on all these podcasts for free. These podcasters let him on for free. They didn't ask him for a dime, nor did he pay a dime on these podcasts. And y'all asked law. Still ended up in a deficit, begging for money at the end of the campaign. The campaign over, they sending you automated text messages asking for. Hell, they still send me messages asking for money to this day.
No pueden.
They had to remove the black.
Tuvieron que bajar la nota. ¿Me entendés que están?
You understand? They're losing.
Perdiendo.
They're losing everywhere. And that's why, and it's not just here in the United States. this is people are saying, "Oh, I wanna leave." I was talking to somebody earlier today, and she was like, "I just want to leave the United States and get away with all from all of this." Let me tell you something. The reason why a lot of expats that move to different countries, especially countries that are more economically affordable, and they get on the internet and they say that the political situation is better in the country that they're in, I'm going to give you a secret. It's because they live in an expat bubble. What does that mean? For example, in Colombia, the majority of the Americans live in Laurel or they live in El Poblado, the ones that live in Medellin. The ones that live in El Poblado, they can go they if they never want to speak Spanish, they don't have to because they have their own enclave of Americans that they hang out. They can if they want to order food, they can wrap it to their house. They go out to all their social gatherings with other Americans. So they don't watch Colombian news. A lot of them don't even speak Spanish. So when you're living your life like this and the totality of your experience is, oh, this is just cheaper and I'm having a ball and I can save more money and I can do more things than what I've ever done, you don't know the reality of what the average person, citizen of that country is dealing with because you don't speak the language, you don't understand the culture and the customs, you don't know what the hell is going on. Meanwhile, they complain to me all the time about going to their country. You turn on the news, it's doom and glooms, violence, bombing, assassination. I'm not just talking about one country. This is happening across the globe. This divide between left and the right is deepening. Europe is about to erupt. In Serbia, they're about to erupt.
Están desesperados, están perdiendo la batalla.
Shit leftists are losing the cultural battle. Yes, make no mistake. A large reason why Donald Trump got elected in this last election was because of the trans issue being forced on people. A lot of people were getting tired of being called a racist just for having a differing opinion of them. A lot of people were tired of every time I turn on the TV, it's constant sex, 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 sex. And then not only is it just what's the norm for majority of us, which is heterosexual. I don't care. Gay people can say all they want to say about, well, we're forced to watch y'all in love scenes. That let me tell you something. That's because we are human beings, and how nature worked out is that in most cases, men are attracted to women and women are attracted to men. That is how we reproduce. That's the only way we can reproduce. So you cannot compare the two. I know you feel like you can, but like you're the anomaly in this situation. And I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying anything. I believe you should have all the same rights I should have, but you cannot be mad at heterosexual people when we are the biological standard. When they say we don't want to turn on the TV and see all that. And guess what? I don't want to turn on this TV and see a whole bunch of heterosexual people always having sex because you can't write a good story. It's always doing everything for shock value. Hi, user 154. I'm exhausted with LGBTQIA plus MAP. Well, who is MAP? Let me tell you something. The LGBTQIA is tired of the LGBTQIA. I see so many conservative, just old school traditional gays, whether they be old and be that traditional gay or be young and be of that same traditional gay mindset, who were like, I just want to be left alone. I'm not trying to push any agenda. That trans stuff don't have nothing to do with me. I just want to be left alone. To be gay in my home. And I mind my business and y'all mind yours. And The trans issue and social stuff was just mainstream liberal blue candy to cover up not doing anything of substance. Exactly. But the average liberal began to push it, is what I'm saying. I told y'all I don't even like talking about it because it's close to home. But I literally had somebody who shouldn't have threatened me that we should be better than that, threaten me, all because I said trans women are not women and trans are not men. And I said the reason why you know this to be true is trans people don't even want to date other trans people. So they don't even buy their own bullshit. Most trans people will not date another trans person. If you talk to a trans woman, a trans woman that used to be a man who is attracted to men, they want the real thing. They don't want a trans male. They don't want a woman with the little Vienna sausage that the surgeon sewed on. They know the damn difference. They go after biological men. They don't want to date each other. Yeah, you get some who are pansexual and they date anything. That is the small minority. They know what it is and what it ain't when it comes to everybody but them. Now all of a sudden, when it comes to you, we gotta pretend. But when you want to discriminate and create standards, boundaries, and expectations for yourself, all of a sudden you become real aware and you understand the difference between a man and a woman when it comes to you and your dating choices. But yet we're transphobic if we don't want to date. Okay. Sleepy Joe, Kamala Harris, Hillary, and Obama give the left a bad name. Frauds. Average leftists give the left a bad name, to be honest. Because you got to understand, these are just figureheads that are a reflection of the ideology. Okay, bringing it back to Charlie Kirk. Oh, here's what this guy said.
Hey, so Charlie Kirk just got shot. Maybe there are good guys with guns out there. Update: Charlie Kirk is.
So y'all couldn't hear him. He said Charlie Kirk just got shot. Maybe there are good guys with guns out there. So he was trying to be funny because a lot of people on the right say the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. I don't see where that was wrong. Who do you call when there's a mass shooting? The police. Now, if nobody else that's willing to fight that active shooter has a gun in the vicinity, mind you, this shooter don't care about guns laws. They're a criminal. They have a gun in the vicinity. The only person that can stop that person is somebody else who was armed. Do y'all remember? Was that last year? Y'all remember that? It was a black woman too. There was a guy who was attempting to shoot up a mall, and she had a gun and she shot him dead before he could take out anybody. She shot that man dead. Does it happen that way all the time? No. Are there going to be situations where you're not able to stop that person because you're not quick enough or whatever the case may be? Yes. But when you have somebody who is hell bent on terrorizing the population, the unarmed population or the armed population, the only thing that is going to be able to stop that person is a gun, be it through law enforcement or another person with the gun. That's how it has to stop. It makes no sense to get upset about that statement because it's true. Or else you're left to his mercy. He gonna stop when he get tired. Y'all hit the like button, please.
Actually looking up at us, and I'm about to head to the grocery store because I'm making ribs tonight. Oh, but he was a man with a wife and kids. Yeah, and now they're safe from him.
Again,
he was a man with a wife and kids, and now they're safe from them. You know what? I wouldn't expect anything less from a party with an ideology that promotes the degradation of family. And what do I mean by that? I'm not just this ultra conservative Christian. Like, I believe in God and all that, but I understand why a lot of people on the left are saying, with this economy, I can't afford to have children now. That's not what I'm talking about here. No, 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 no. I'm talking about the people who are constantly promoting a lack of sexual discipline. They promote it like it's good, it's something you're supposed to be doing. Uh, it's okay for you to be running around getting all these abortions. It's okay to be out here cheating, living immoral, having multiple sex partners. And again, I'm not saying this is somebody who's been perfect, but I shame my own self. It's like when I tell y'all, I can go a long, 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 long time. I'm a single woman. But I'm not indoctrinated to believe that I got to have somebody laid up in my bed all the time, or that I have to sleep with people who don't care about me, or I have to, it's okay to just be out here not managing my pearls. God says don't cash your pearls before swine. I don't walk around with that mentality. My first priority as a single mother is to take care of my child. No, I don't believe that all families are created equal. It is better for the mother and father to be in the house raising the child. And not only is that my opinion, the statistics bear that out. That child is more likely to be successful. So that is the best setup. But a lot of liberals won't even admit that. Let liberals tell it. You should have a trans couple with both of them already mentally ill adopting and raising a child. Politics and mentality is why Chicago, Memphis, LA, NY, Toronto, Houston, New Orleans, Jacksonville, etc. are why they are what they are. Street politics is what I'm talking about. What you talking about, Alexis? Oh, bye, Alexis. I'm sorry. I did not see that you left the chat. He asked food for her like the man in the Texas church. Okay, y'all please smash that like button.
Another example of the tolerant left. Charlie Kirk was literally just assassinated, and he's essentially cheering it on, laughing at it. But we're not done.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. To everyone saying that it was such a senseless, violent act, I want you to remind yourself that it was God's plan.
There's this thing called free will.
Let's be clear. God allowed that to happen. It's free will. That doesn't change. Yeah, this was God's plan. It doesn't change. We all have to play our part in this life. And at the end of the day, we all are going to die some way. So as far as I'm concerned, Charlie Kirk served his purpose. It's a lot of people who are mourning the future he could have had. He could have been president. He was politically talented. It's sad that he's not going to be able to be in his children's life. But we know not the day or the hour which we will leave this earth, and we all gotta die. Everybody has to go. Everybody, including this girl dancing. So that's the reality of the matter. You can make fun of somebody else's death all you want to. You gotta go too. They just went sooner than you. You got to go too. You have your part that you have to play on this earth, and when it's over, it's over. And you served your purpose. Now, when you come to the end of your life, is God going to be able to look at you and say, job well done, my humble servant? Are you going to be proud of what you accomplished in this life? Because honestly and truly, the way that Charlie Kirk died, what more was there left to accomplish? Any person who lived and succeeded at the level that Charlie Kirk did When they give an account, they can say, I made each day count. I did all I could do. I maxed out my time here. Are you going to be able to say the same about yourself while you dancing over people's graves? What are you doing with your time here on this earth, man? If you were to die today, would you feel a sense of accomplishment or a sense of regret from not having spent your time better here? That's the real question.
Maybe she should learn about it. But again, this is a side of tolerance, love, acceptance. This is a side that says they're morally superior than everybody else. And I want people to see this because they're putting this information out here for us to see. If an important figure on the left was just assassinated, they wouldn't be talking like this. Their energy would be totally different.
Not only would they not be talking like this, they really didn't. Again, and to be fair, with the whole Melissa Horton situation, she didn't have the same impact. Y'all understand? Like, a lot of people didn't know her. So when she passed, a lot of people barely talked about the situation. I told you I did a segment on my channel condemning the assassination. Every major conservative figurehead that I know condemned the action, but like liberals moved on from that. Now they want to bring it up and revisit the topic out of spite because Charlie Kirk got assassinated. And they want to say, well, ooh, y'all didn't care when it happened to her. And it's like, yeah, but y'all didn't really care. Y'all didn't really care. I don't even say y'all didn't really care either, because I don't think it was a matter of whether or not people cared or not. She just wasn't as popular, right? So people talked about it. They talked about it on Leftist News. We covered it. I covered it for sure. Jamal, I think you were there during that live. But she wasn't as impactful. So the conversation is different. That doesn't mean that we agree or that we didn't condemn what happened. We did. We absolutely did. I remember.
These people are disgusting. There's no other way to put it. And they're showing us who they are repeatedly. Again, we need to see this for what it is. And what's crazy is the last girl was making fun of religion and the fact that he just got assassinated. It's disgusting. If you are not registered to vote, get registered to vote. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you're voting in local elections, and make sure you come out for these midterm elections.
This is what the left doesn't understand. While they're celebrating now, y'all ever heard that saying that the old folks used to say? The same thing that'll make you laugh will make you cry. Yeah, come midterms next year, guess who's gonna be boo-hoo? Because see, normally what happens during the midterms, the reasons why the other party is able to flip seats, part of the reason is because the party that's in power gets comfortable. People don't show up to vote. This just energized the right like never before. Oh, you think they're staying home? Oh, baby, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And guess what? The energization of the right is completely different than when the left gets energized over abortion or gets energized over trans right. Do you know why? Because the right has a righteous indignation. That's based on sound wisdom. It's a common sense indignation. So when the right gets fired up, ain't no stopping them people. So this was the worst thing they could have did. On top of that, in Texas, they just gerrymandered them seats for the House of Representatives. The Republicans are playing a long game here. So you better believe, mark my words, I'm predicting it now. It's up for the Democrats during the midterm. They might as well just hang it up. And that's what I want to see. I don't want to see Republicans committing any act of violence against Democrats. What I would like to see is more standing on business, standing on what you say, being firm, getting out, taking your your opinion to the voting booth. Be louder, be more vocal. They want to shut you up, do the opposite. That's what I want to see. Shut them down. Because they can't stand logic. Does not hate Trump as much as Joy Reid. Brianna Joy does not hate Trump as much as Rachel Maddow. YNs don't hate Trump as much as Roland Boulay Barton. Well, that's true. I'll agree with you on that.
We need to absolutely keep control of the House and the Senate. Now, just a reminder, I have a free email newsletter where I give you
one comment here. As a part of the left, these people disgust me. There are some people on the left who, because of this, they are going to leave the left. I predict this is going to be like another like a epidemic. Y'all know what I'm speaking in code here because I don't know if we can really talk about it yet still. But anyway, like during the demic, a lot of Democrats came to the revelation of who the Democrat Party is and has been for a very long time now. And they left. And those are the ones that went out and voted for Donald Trump in 2024. Democrats who had never voted for him, who in 2016 said he was a Nazi, had a complete evolution, revelation, whatever you want to call it, epiphany during the scam-demic and completely flipped. I have seen a couple videos of liberals who were like, bruh, we are the absolute worst. And people are trying to tell me, well, y'all both do it on both sides, the left and the right do it. Let me tell you something. As somebody who used to be a Democrat, anytime I would disagree with a Republican about something, they would, and I'm not talking about online. Forget online. Forget online. Let's talk about real life. I feel like a lot of people are vile and nasty and ridiculous online. Forget that. People say things that they wouldn't say to your face online. They like it is what it is. In person, every time I ever disagreed with a Republican, they respectfully had a conversation with me about the subject. They never called me a name. They would never shout at me. They would just explain their opinion. Anytime as a Democrat, I ever really just got into a really bad heated argument with somebody about politics, it was always with another Democrat who I disagreed with. And then they'll threaten you. They cannot make a logical argument. They threaten you. They shout. They don't want to be your friend anymore. They don't want to be your family member anymore. They don't want to associate. I've never heard a Republican say, I just can't be friends with such and such because they're a Democrat. Like, that is not a Republican thing. They might talk shit about you and make fun of you, like, to your face. But at the end of the day, if you're a good person, they really don't care. They really don't care. It's Republicans that have had to hide from their friends that they are Republicans or conservatives or tiptoe around talking about politics. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not the same on both sides. Not by a long shot. Stabby Stabs, I meant she is my political go-to woman. Okay, I think you told me about her.
Regular updates about what's going on, and this is one of the only places I absolutely can't be censored. It's also one of the best places to get up.
Okay, let's see what else was said. Let me see if this Don Lemon clip will play now.
And in Utah,
no, it's not playing right.
Event in
It
Utah.
won't start at the very beginning. But basically, Don Lemon started out introducing Charlie Kirk as like an ultra leftist Republican, ultra right Republican. And I'm like, Charlie Kirk is just a regular Republican. Like, we need to stop with this. Everything is ultra left. Everything is ultra right. Like, he was just a regular Republican. There was nothing about what he said that was radical. Like, they were acting like Charlie Kirk was David Duke or something like that. Oh, I like what this woman had to say?
In their opinion, then you are a part of the problem. I understand being passed in their opinion, then you are a part of in their opinion, then you are a part of the problem. I understand being passionate about your beliefs, but that does not justify killing somebody. And I've seen so many Christians posting about it, some who, were grieving Charlie Kirk, of course, but a lot of them were like, how can you be sitting here grieving him? If you feel bad for Charlie Kirk, then you're XYZ, unfollow me, da 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 da. You cannot be a Christian with hate in your heart. I saw this quote somebody posted earlier, and it was like,
I've had a lot of people unfollow me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. I had this girl, you know how you have people that just be watching you to hate on you. Now, whenever I post something positive or about me traveling, you never like it, any comment on it, anything like that, which is fine. I don't care. But all of a sudden, you want to come on my page to dissent and disagree because your demons got agitated because you didn't like this man because you convinced yourself that he was a racist. And now all of a sudden you want to go back and forth with me. You have so much interest in what I have to say. And then when you're losing the argument, you want to unfollow. That's fine. I don't care. But this is how these people operate.
you can quote scripture all day, but if you can't love your neighbor who disagrees with you, then you've missed the whole point of the author. And that is so true. I really could not agree more. And I don't like to talk about politics much on here for personal reasons, but I will say this. No matter what side you're on when it comes to politics, whether you're Democrat, Republican, left, right, whatever it is, you should never become tribal. Being tribal in politics means that you're so blindly influenced by one side that you have no room for nuance. So whoever did this,
if the right ever, y'all don't know this, if y'all ever begin to do the things that I saw the Democrats doing, I'm out. Rigging primaries. The first time it happens, I'm going. I will go black pill before I deal with the same thing over there that over here. I absolutely will. And the Republican Party is not perfect, but it's 100 times better on this side of the aisle, baby. I ain't even gonna hold. It's 100% more about growth and a disciplined mindset over here. Megan Kelly ain't really the right.
I definitely feel like they were tribal about their side, and that's why they decided to kill him. I know a lot of people have a problem with Charlie Kirk because of headlines y'all have seen and stuff you've seen on social media. But here's the thing about that too, and it drives me nuts. In journalism in college, throughout all my 4 years, something I was taught in all of my courses revolving around journalism is how to make a headline. And we were taught that headlines are meant to be attention grabbers, and that we should always know how to write a good one, and that when we see headlines for ourselves, we should do the research and look into the story for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's why so many people have an issue with certain politicians and speakers and podcasters, you name it. So many people have a problem with them because of headlines they've seen about these.
Anytime I hear a liberal say something that to me is just throw the hell off, and it's like a popular person, I think because my experience is being a liberal and hearing, like, it's like we live in a different reality. The stuff they say about Joe Rogan, like them calling Joe Rogan a racist and an ultra right white supremacist, really, and this was while I was a Democrat, that really made me take pause and be like, wait, I watched this man. I've been watching this man for years. I know that's not what he is at all. Right? Who else are y'all lying about? Right? This is how I figured out the whole January 6th thing. They were lying about a lot of what went on. Right? So ever since then, anytime I hear something that sounds, it's like it's too crazy sounding, I go find the whole thing so I can put it into context. All them little short clips that don't really tell me much about what you meant, what you were trying to say, or why you said what you said. I gotta go listen to you speak for a while before I make up my mind. And then you also have to consider the agenda of the people who are posting these very short, attention grabbing clips.
People that aren't even true. And so you develop a hatred in your heart toward these people without researching them for yourself. It's just fine if you end up researching them for yourself and still disagreeing with them. There's nothing wrong with that at all, because another thing I've been taught since freaking middle school AP English course.
But here's the problem. A lot of it, let me tell you something, with especially when we talk about like the Christian values of the right. Now, I don't care what religion you subscribe to. There's wisdom in the Bible, right? There's wisdom. There's this it's called the golden thread. There are certain things that no matter what religion you practice, and dang near all religions, there are certain principles that they promote you live your life by. Almost every religion is going to promote a disciplined life. Almost every religion condemns excessive drinking, sex outside of wedlock, having a foul mouth, laziness, right? So there are some gems and some wisdom that come from a lot of these conservatives, but you won't really value them until you get older and mature, and you are ready to change your life, but you done messed it up. So it's like a lot of the times, I said this before. Do y'all remember? Was that like my last live where I said I don't understand why these conservatives go on these college campuses and talk to these young people, these young radical liberals, because they're not ready to change yet, even if what you are saying is of sound mind. And I still believe that for the vast majority of them, that is true. But what is clear is that a lot of liberals did eventually change their mind. Like, even if they were initially agitated, a lot of them will come back and be like, I thought about it, or something happened in my life, and I thought about what you said, and it helped me change my life. I'm talking about Charlie Kirk here. But a lot of the times, there's so much wisdom in what a lot of these Republicans say, but a lot of people will not get it until they're ready for it. And a lot of people are not ready for discipline, is what I'm trying to say.
Something that was instilled in me was that every good argument acknowledges the counter argument. And that has been so ingrained into my mind from an early age that helps me to see other people's point of views, even when I don't agree. I will sit here and listen.
But they will not even, I'm not even going to hold you. I had a teacher in high school during my senior year in government. I had a teacher, rest in peace. He liked me a lot. He helped me a lot. He was genuinely a good person. He was, but he was a liberal. And we had to like watch the news every night and, answer some questions. And he would randomly call on you. You never knew when you were going to get called. And you would have to tell about the news article. But his one rule was you can't watch Fox News because it's not real news. Now, looking back, though, at that time, I agree. And I used to eat the Republican girlies up in a debate back then because it's not that they were wrong. I don't think that they were ready. They probably could have been, because why they were Republicans was because their parents raised them that way. They weren't ready. They probably would be ready for me now if I was still a Democrat, right? But anyways, his one rule was that you couldn't watch Fox News. Your assignment did not count if it was based on something you saw on Fox News. He said it's not real news. And looking back, that was not the right thing to do. We should have, regardless of how he felt about Fox News, the right thing would have been for us to have been able to, at the very least, all the mainstream sources, because that's what people were watching at the time, that all of them should have counted. And if you think it's fake or, you know, you don't agree with it, then we're going to debate in here anyway.
To speakers and podcasters and politicians that I don't even agree with, just so I can understand their points of view and just so I can understand why I don't agree with them. And you know why I do that? Because I like to soak in knowledge. Being teachable and having knowledge means you cannot be biased. You cannot be tribal. It is okay to disagree. It is not okay to murder. And it is not okay to celebrate somebody losing their life. Like, I just can't fathom it. I've had so many awful people in my life do some awful things to me, and I still do not wish death upon them. If you're sitting here celebrating his death, I truly hope that you heal and get the help that you need. And I feel like we're all so desensitized to seeing people die on camera, and that's not normal or okay either. And I know thoughts and prayers are not going.
Now, this is a beautiful woman. She is a beautiful, gorgeous. Let me make sure y'all can see her. Gorgeous, in shape, got herself together. She's everything they tell you that you can't be as a Black woman. Gorgeous, beautiful, in shape, articulate. Does she look like anybody holding her back in life? No, this is the type of woman, when anybody see her, they inviting her into the same set. You come over here. This is the type of woman where if Donald Trump see her, he would be like, you look so good. Y'all remember that clip I showed y'all? That Black woman that was in that press conference with Donald Trump. And she asked him a question and she told him, hey, I lost my job. They were talking about the economy. He was like, well, hold on now. He's like, you look so good. Can you come up here? You look good. You're beautiful. What do you do? Okay, well, I have an opportunity for you. Yeah, this woman right here, she looks like the type of woman that Donald Trump would offer a job to. I ain't lying. Fox News has a tendency to report nonsense, especially during Obama years. Well, that is true. That is true. I will say this. They have changed their ways. They have rebranded. I watched Redacted with Clayton and Natalie Morris, Anton Daniels, Candace Owens, and Melanie King for conservative perspective. I didn't even know that Candace and Anton knew each other. I'm going to have to watch that.
Want to bring Charlie back.
Let's see. What else was said? Oh, this guy right here. Such a weirdo.
As a political price. Y'all be safe. Don't nobody care. As a political price. As a political price. As a political price. Y'all be.
Refresh this.
So Charlie Kirk got unalived today, and I was reading some of the comments under the Shade Room post about it. And it's like, people are in the comments like, oh, where's the humanity? He had a wife, he had kids. Y'all are horrible people. Do we notice how quick the narrative shifts when violence hits somebody like Charlie Kirk? Suddenly, there is a chorus demanding humanity. And it's directed at a community whose humanity he's spent years eroding. Let's not.
When did Republicans promote not having empathy and humanity for victims of gun violence? When was that promoted? Because I don't remember that being a part of the agenda. Again, they keep bringing up Melissa Horton's assassination, and all the conservatives that I know condemned her assassination and said political violence is not okay. So what is he talking about here? What specifically? He needed to be more specific because he's acting like we've switched up, and I don't recall that. A shocking and sad event. Very shocking, very sad. Definitely a turning point for our nation.
Forget that his own statement about gun violence was.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we.
That's the reality of the matter. Whether or not guns are legal or illegal, there are going to be gun deaths every year in this country. That's just the reality of the matter. And for those of y'all who are just now tuning in, for y'all listening to these statements where these Democrats are like, oh, well, you know, this is what he gets because he promoted gun violence or he promoted um, loose gun laws or he promoted the Second Amendment rights, like all this BS. And they're saying he got his karma for that. Conservative Senator Miguel Uribe in Colombia got assassinated last month. In Colombia, guns are illegal. Matter of fact, you can't even carry a pocket knife around in Colombia. That's illegal. Guess the method by which he died? A gun. Guess who had the gun? A teenage boy. Wow. Look at that. Criminals don't care about gun laws. And it can't even stop a teenage assassin who was hell-bent on murdering you. This boy shot him at close gun range. In a country where the citizenry is supposed to be unarmed. So regardless of whether or not guns are legal or illegal, there's going to be gun violence. Criminals don't care. What happens in those situations is, yes, you'll probably have a lot less deaths because guns aren't on the street. It leaves less room for like people just shooting somebody because they got in their feelings, right? You don't have a gun to reach for. But also what happens is you get a lot of crime. You get a lot of crime. You get a lot of stick ups, people robbing you. Somebody comes into your house with a gun in those countries. And these are countries where this happens often. You going to come up off of all of your things. So it's very difficult for you to defend your own life and property against those type of people. So it's like there's a trade-off. Either way, there's a trade-off. You have to decide which is more important to you. Why do we protect our banks, our airports, and our sports stadiums with guns, but not our schools? I think the school should be protected with guns. But here's the thing: if the bank is allowed to be protected with the gun, if the bricks money truck can be armed, why can't I, as an American citizen, have a gun in my place of residence? Is my property not worth protecting either? Is the life of my family not worth protecting? See, criminals don't care about gun laws. So when you have an unarmed populace, you leave the citizenry at the mercy of criminals. And I don't have to argue with anybody about it. This is just the reality. This is just the reality. In a lot of these countries where the government is run by the cartel, why? Because the cartel not only outguns the citizenry, but it outguns the government because they never gave a damn about those gun laws. It just is what it is. I thought about you and my older kid's mother when I had to bail my daughter. You would have hated that judge. Laughed my ass off. Why? Why do you say that?
Can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal.
That wasn't a straight comment, bitch. That was a moral position. Arguing that deaths
It was a moral position, but like you have to put it in context. So everything that I just articulated to you, Charlie Kirk, it's too late, y'all. Charlie Kirk has said very similar things. They don't believe in people having guns just for the sake of having guns. There are reasons. And it's not like liberals live in this fairy tale world where they think that guns are the problem. When we have a problem of culture and society, they think people can't commit an act of terrorism and mass death unless they have a gun. And that is a fallacy. a fallacy. Do you know they commit a bomb? If somebody wants to take a whole bunch of people out at once, they can make bombs at home. And the reason why I'm speaking on this is, again, I try not to speak too much about the countries that I'm in. I can't talk too much, y'all. But I'm not speaking on this as a hypothetical situation, is what I'm trying to say. These people who want to commit mass acts of terror, and they're in a country where there are no guns, they bomb. They bomb.
Strangers is a political cost is why people don't give a fuck about him getting shot. When a person normalizes collateral damage, it is not hypocrisy for others to withhold sympathy, especially not when the cost reaches his ass. Compassion is not an inexhaustible natural resource. It's
collateral damage, because whether or not the guns are legal or are not illegal, there's going to be that. There's going to be some collateral damage. Because what's going to happen? The criminals are going to run amok in your community with the gun. They're going to recruit your kids into gangs, murder your children indiscriminately, have shoot-offs in the street, everybody hiding in the house, can't nobody do nothing about it. So either way it goes, the collateral damage you cannot avoid.
You can't teach policies that endanger, degrade, and dehumanize people, and then demand those same people to have empathy on cue. That's moral extraction, not moral consistency. So none of those people owe him any grief. None of us owe him humanity when he is.
Here's the thing. He's absolutely correct. Nobody owes him any grief. What people would rather see y'all do is just shut up. Like, you don't owe him anything. Saying he deserved it, saying it's karma, you're going out of your way to be hateful. There's a difference. If you genuinely don't care about this man or don't like this man, that's fine. You don't owe him your empathy. You don't have to be crying. You don't have to make a speech or a long statement. You don't even have to condemn the act. What y'all are doing is laughing, joking, kikiing, ha-ha, applauding it. And that's way different than not giving empathy that you believe is not owed. That's 1000% your choice.
His entire career stripping it from other people. Actions create legacies, and legacies carry consequences.
What have you created? This is what I want to know. See, for this man getting up on here talking about legacy, sir, all you do, and I watch his videos, so I'm not even going to front, because sometimes they're entertaining. But all you do is get on TikTok, put lip gloss on, and respond to TikTok comments. What have you built that can live on? So, like, if you want to compare your legacy and Charlie Kirk's legacy, there's no comparison. Again, that man could vacation for 20 years and you could never catch up with him. And guess what? I'm not on Charlie Kirk's level. I hope that my words can inspire somebody, but I aspire to be half the human being that he was. And that's not me worshiping him. That's me being objective about how much more that man, we are the same age. He would have been 32 next month. I'm 32. I just turned 32. And we're nowhere in the same league.
That reality feels uncomfortable. Perhaps that discomfort should have been felt before applauding violence as a political price. Violence. Y'all be safe.
There's a difference. He didn't say this should be happening. Okay, when somebody asks you, well, if because of guns being legal, people are going to have guns, people are going to die, and you say I feel like the consequences of not having guns far outweigh the consequences of banning the gun. So I'm willing to accept the consequences that come with A because I believe B would be far worse. And unless you've lived in a country where the criminals have a monopoly on violence, you would never understand. You could never understand. Look at what's going on in Mexico. Look at what's going on in Mexico. Let me look up Mexican gun laws. Y'all, it's coming out that the cartels are slaughtering, they're finding just mass graves. Let me make sure I'm speaking correctly. They're finding mass graves of people. They're saying that Sheinbaum is our narco president. She can't do anything to stop the narcos. Y'all, please smash the like button. Guns are legal in Mexico, but the laws are very strict compared to the United States. Here are the key points. Ownership is allowed, but only under strict regulation by the Mexican government. Civilians must apply for a permit through the Secretariat of National Defense. There is only one legal gun store in the entire country. You got one legal gun store in the entire country, but yet you got thousands and thousands of people being murdered by the cartels every year. You got thousands of people dying due to gun violence, and there's only one legal gun store in the entire country. You got mass graves. You got like people want to talk about Nazis and Hitler. You got concentration style mass graves, concentration camp mass graves being dug up in Mexico present day with men, women, and children in them. And there's only one legal gun store in the country. And it is operated by the Mexican army. Most military grade firearms like assault rifles, large caliber handguns, or automatic weapons are prohibited for civilian use. Civilians can legally own some handguns and certain shotgun rifles, usually for home defense or hunting. To carry a gun in public outside the home, a separate carry license is required, and these are rarely granted. Yet you got people in Mexico dying by the thousands at the hands of criminals due to gun violence. Illegal possession or carrying of firearms is a serious crime, often punished with long prison sentences. In practice, while gun ownership is technically legal, it is very difficult for an ordinary civilian in Mexico to legally purchase, carry, or transport a firearm. So it's effectively banned. Do you want me to break down which types of guns are allowed? No, you don't got to do all that. Give me a second, y'all. So in 2020 alone, 2022 alone, the firearm death rate was approximately 16.9 per 100,000 inhabitants. That's the same as in Texas. That's the same as in Texas. That's literally right there with the gun deaths in Texas in terms of it being like per 100,000 inhabitants, 16.9%. And we have very loose gun laws in Texas. Anybody can go into a store and buy a gun in Texas. And in Mexico, they have basically the same death rate per 100,000 inhabitants, and they basically banned guns. It's very hard for you to get one as a citizen, yet they have the same death rates as Texas. In 2032, there were 31,000 homicides in Mexico. Of those, 21,739 were committed with firearms. So roughly 70% of murders in Mexico in 2023 involved guns. What the fuck are we talking about? Why are we talking about this? What are we arguing about here? Help me understand. I will. Charlie Kirk stated that if his 10-year-old was raped and became pregnant, she would have the baby. I talked about that. Not much to look up to there. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with him saying that, but I understand why he said it. And Charlie Kirk is not the only one. Back in the day, in the black community, if a girl got pregnant as a teenager or got raped, they did not take their kids to go have an abortion. That was not normalized in our culture. Now things are different. I don't agree with it. I didn't agree with it when black folks was doing it. I don't agree with it now. But I know plenty of older black women who have essentially rape babies. Dang, I like Sheen Bomb too. A Mexican senator just came out and blasted her on Fox News for being a cartel asset. And now the senator's life is in danger. So what are we talking about here? Blacks were also slaves back in the day. Times changed for the better, not going back to the worst. I'm not going all the way back to slavery. When I say black people used to make their children have rape babies, I'm talking about my mom's generation. I'm talking about my mom's generation. Okay. I'm talking about my mom's generation, my grandmother's generation. Like, I don't have to go all the way back to slavery. Like, black people just began to accept abortion. Let's be clear. My generation, millennials, we're wilding with the abortion thing. That was unacceptable with Gen X and definitely the boomers. It didn't matter what circumstance you got pregnant under, you were having a baby. I don't agree with that though. And I didn't agree with that statement when he made it. If it happened to my daughter, we're going right to that clinic. What do you mean? That doesn't negate the fact that there were many things that he said that added value and that were true and that were righteous. Because black people are treated by society as lesser citizens. Nobody treats me as a lesser citizen. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get treated as a lesser citizen. Nothing is holding me back. People are generally kind to me. I've been given opportunities by people of all races. So I can't do anything, like there's nothing that somebody else can do that I can't do. Unless you're like rich or something. Obviously, rich people can do a lot of things that just the average working class American can. But like, I don't get treated bad. I'm not a second class citizen. I'm not inferior in any way. Not in the least bit. Righteous, not everyone is religious. That should stay in the church. No, I don't think so. I think America needs the further and further away we get to people just having some sort of baseline religion, and I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a Muslim. Just keep that weird stuff, like those honor killings and stuff. Keep that on the other side of the world. Keep that weird stuff over there. But if you just want to come here and practice discipline in your life and you need God to help you do that, I think we need more of that. I think Americans need to return back to religion. Just pick one. Pick one. Pick one of the big three. Read what they say about how you should live your life and follow it. I think we'd be much better off because right now, we have morally degraded as a society. It is a race to the bottom. People have no decency, no decorum, and no standards, boundaries, and expectations for themselves. Most people need God. Most people need God. There are very few people who are able to morally legislate themselves and manage themselves free of God telling them what to do. It is what it is. No, let's bring religion back. I'm not saying we got to be a theocracy, but people need to be practicing religion in their homes. They need to be going to some type of weekly church or prayer service, being in community and fellowship with other people. People need to be afraid to do certain things because of God. Let's bring that back. See, because the less people fear God, the more I have to turn on my TV and see all types of debauchery. And then y'all say, well, if you don't want to watch it, turn away. It's becoming so normalized that it's a race to the bottom. All the programming has this foolishness in it. Can't even listen to good music now. Y'all remember back in the day when they wanted to talk about sex, they would like use terms like, let's get it on. Baby, now they don't say let's get it on. They describe the entire act in one song. You can't even play your music in the car with the children no more. And I don't care. That goes for all these genres. You know, rap is probably the worst offenders, but they're pretty raunchy across the board. Preach. Yeah, bring religion back. I do not want to butcher your name. Becretia. Welcome. I hope I did not butcher that. Welcome. No, God will exist to those who choose to believe in it. That's why it should stay in the church. Let me tell you something. Just because you don't believe in God, or at the very least, you don't follow the principles of the teaching of God, does not mean that you will not have to deal with the consequences that come with living any kind of way that you want to live. That comes with real consequences. That comes with real consequences. And if enough people in a society don't fear God, that is when it becomes a hellhole with no basic human decency. And we're seeing this. I even think about the young ladies now. It's so normal now to sell your box, sell your lady parts as a side hustle. It's normalized. These women put no value on their JJ at all. They are willing to do anything for $1. And that comes with the whole live your life the way you want to live it. The only thing that's saving us right now, I ain't even going to hold you. The only thing that's saving these kids from these mothers is abortion. And like I said, the only reason why here's the thing. Republicans are right when they say abortion is immoral. They are right. When they say it's killing somebody or taking a life, they are right. But the way I see these OnlyFans mothers and these mothers who are prostituting their bodies like it's nothing. Women used to prostitute because, they had to pay the rent. They couldn't come up with the rent money. Like that's when women used to prostitute on the side. These women are prostituting for crab legs, trips to Mexico, 30-inch bust down wigs, and they talk about it like it's normal. Hoe TikTok is a real thing where women are on TikTok giving other women tips on how to hoe. And the Bible says don't cast your pearls before swine. That's for a reason. Do y'all know how many women that I would meet that have been prostituting all their lives, and then you see them later on and they're homeless and their minds are gone. It's like they have split personalities because it's like you split a piece of your soul every time you lay down with these men for money. That's those women's choice, not yours. Why would you make what would make you think you can tell others how to think? I mean, people can think how they want to think, but I also have the right to say that I feel like it's leading to the moral denigration of society, and it is. It is. And when you have the moral denigration of society, what it leads to is a low trust society. Because now people are not operating thinking about the greater good or thinking about what's best for society as a whole. Everybody is just out for them and what makes them happy. And if what makes you happy is wicked, then that leads to a low trust society. Then you have a situation where people don't, for example, we're already starting to see this. People don't even want to get into relationships with each other. Why don't people want to get into relationships these days? Because everybody's cheating, everybody's whoring, everybody's spreading STDs around. Nobody's ever satisfied. They're just living for today. So people don't even want to, they are afraid to even try to pursue healthy relationships because they're all scared of each other. And part of the reason why they're all scared of each other is because a lot of them know what they're doing in private. Everything becomes transactional. What can I get from you that's going to help me feel happy? So you can act like it has nothing to do with me, but I got to live in the world with the rest of these people. That's your belief now, and I don't agree with their belief. And I don't like the world that it has created, is what I'm saying. I have to live in this world just like them. I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing. And I'm not a hermit. I can't just stay in the house. It's not healthy. I can't just stop living just because society is denigrated. I got to keep going. But y'all gonna hear my mouth every time I see the BS. It is what it is. You are blinded by the trees and can't see the forest. No, you are blinded by the trees and can't see the forest because you are so focused on individualism and what people want for their own lives. When people really are out here being undisciplined, making decisions for their life based off of emotions, making decisions in life based on wanting to get off physically, live for today. They are not out here making sound decisions that are for the betterment of society and the betterment of their soul and the betterment of humanity as a whole. And because of that, we are regressing. We are not making the strides that we used to. The families are disconnected. People are not getting into long-lasting, trusting relationships. So this is beyond just the individual and what the individual wants. We are seeing a breakdown in society because of this mentality. And because of that, people are committing suicide. Both men and women are committing suicide. See, if this way of living that this whole ideology that you're promoting, oh, this is your belief, people should do what they want, it's their choice. Yeah, it is their choice. I can't do anything but give my opinion. I can't enforce anything I'm saying. What I'm saying is because of the way people are living now, they are unhappy, they are miserable, they are suicidal, they are lonelier, they're on antidepressants, they're mentally ill. And you expect me to sit back and act like, oh, that's just their choice. Let's all continue to destroy ourselves. No, I'm gonna speak up. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? That makes absolutely no sense. Hey, Avi, I said yesterday that even if Charlie knew he'd go out like this, he still would have bravely sat in the chair still because what he stood for was far more than left and right. Unity is what we need. You know what? For the sake of his children, if he got a tip, he might not have attended the event because he has kids. You know what I'm saying? But if we go take a visit to heaven, I'm sure Charlie would still stand on his gun right belief. Like it is what it is. in a heavy dose. It is what it is. Because his beliefs weren't based in his feelings. I just went over the stats. If y'all are just now coming in, again, I'm gonna break this down for those of y'all who are just now coming in. Please hit that like button, smash that like button. That helps people know that I'm on live. So I just talked about how a senator in Colombia last month was murdered in cold blood by a teenager with a gun. He had a hit out on him, and the teenager with a handgun shot him at close point range. He was in critical condition, and he eventually succumbed to his injuries, right? With that said, in Colombia, guns are virtually banned, but criminals don't care. Criminals don't care. So people have guns in Colombia that don't give a damn about the law. In Mexico, they are finding mass graves currently, as we speak, of men, women, and children that the cartel have murdered. I'm talking about concentration style mass graves. And if you're just now tuning in, I just gave y'all the gun laws in Mexico. Guns are legal in Mexico, but the laws are very strict compared to the United States. Ownership is allowed, but only under strict regulation by the Mexican government. Civilians must apply for a permit through the Secretariat of National Defense. There's only one legal gun store in the entire country, located in Mexico City, and it is operated by the Mexican Army. Most military grade firearms like assault rifles, large caliber handguns, or automatic weapons are prohibited for civilian use. This is everything that the left wants to ban, right? Because the left is saying we don't want to take your guns away. We just want to put very strict controls on who can get a gun and how you get a gun and what type of gun you can get. This is strict as hell. This is strict as hell. I'm not even going to hold you. Civilians can legally own some handguns and certain shotgun rifles, usually for home defense or hunting. To carry a gun in public outside the home, a separate carry license is required, and these are rarely granted. Illegal possession or carrying of firearms is a serious crime, often punished with long prison sentences. So you're going to do a long bid over that gun. In practice, while gun ownership is technically legal, it is very difficult for an ordinary civilian in Mexico to legally purchase, carry, or transport a firearm. So y'all just heard me say they only have one gun store in all of Mexico. Mexico's pretty big, right? Let me give you the statistics on gun violence in Mexico. Between 2015 and 2022, there were about 1,800. Sorry, there have been about 188,397 firearms related deaths in Mexico. In 2022 alone, the firearm death rate was approximately 16.9 per 100,000 inhabitants. That's right on par with Texas, and we have very loose, relaxed gun laws. Anybody can get a gun in Texas. Homicide is by far the biggest part of gun deaths. About 92.2 of firearm deaths during 2015 to 2022 were homicides. In 2023, there were 31,062 homicides in Mexico. Of those, 21,739 were committed with firearms. So roughly 70% of murders in Mexico involve guns. This is in a place where they have very strict gun laws. But you know what's the problem in Mexico? The criminals don't give a fuck. And guess what? Guess what? They're on our border. These are cartels who are on our border. These are people who just got done running trafficking children through our border, who go raid homes. These are people right on our southern border. And you think we should unarm the people in Texas? You think that's the smart thing to do? Okay, so when I bring out the facts, this is the kind of stuff that Republicans need to hit these liberals with, because you can't argue with this. When you take guns away from citizens, all you do is give criminals a monopoly on violence. And now you have a situation where the entire government is run based on fear, corruption, and coercion. And we have enough of that as it is already. We don't need any more of that. We don't need any criminal enterprises and factions taking over our government and unaliving our people to the point where you are finding mass graves of Americans all around our country. Y'all like to talk about Nazi this, Nazi that. Imagine you have to live under that type of regime. Then you really gonna be talking about some Hitler and the Nazis. They digging up mass graves of women and children. So those statistics I just gave y'all about gun deaths in Mexico, that is what's reported. That is what's reported. I'm willing to bet most Democrats and half the Republicans in Congress are on the DL, so they won't enforce godly principles, just moralistic attitudes at best. This will awaken the sleeping Republican giant. You will see it in midterm. I was just talking about that LMK. Oh, the Dems can kiss the midterms goodbye. I mean, they already weren't going to win due to what happened in Texas. Like, trust me, the Republicans are thinking very long term and lining all their ducks up in a row, right? But it's over for them. It's so like the Republicans are not going to need to do much convincing to get their base, and not just their base. I'm sure a lot of Democrats are going to leave the party because of this. Like if what happened during the scamdemic wasn't the last straw, I saw a few Democrats crying like, "What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? Y'all are the worst." I have to live in this world too, and I don't like your irritational. I don't give a damn that you're irritated. You can be irritated all you want to. Go cry somewhere. Go cry under a bridge. Your mentality of people should just do what they want to do because they feel like it and nobody should care, it is leading to the destruction and the moral degradation of society. And we can look out and see evidence of that every day, and I'm not here for it. So I don't care. You being irritated is a price that I'm willing to pay for speaking up. So I do not care. Which like I don't care. But I don't push my ideas into laws that affect others. Well, there are laws that affect others. First of all, you're coming on my live. You don't like what I'm talking about. You came here. You're welcome to be here. I don't care. I don't mind dissent. I don't block anybody. But like you're choosing to irritate your own self. Let's be very clear because you don't have to be here. Furthermore, liberal ideas get translated into laws too. So again, because you think with an individual mindset, you're making this about you, what you don't like, what you don't want, what's irritating you. And then you're making it seem like me speaking up about my ideas is the only thing that has a negative effect on what you want. When liberal ideology, you're like, I don't push anything on anybody. As if liberal ideology doesn't get passed into law quite frequently in this country. So what are we talking about? No matter what you are, what you believe in, I love y'all, and the mirror is where I look to see who I please. Well, I love you too, and thank you for that. And I love all people, but I'm not going to be quiet just because people's feelings are hurt. I feel sorry for you. Why would you feel sorry for me? Ma'am, I'm the last person you need to feel sorry for. Baby, I am over here and I'm in Peru right now. I was just at the beach today. I spent the whole day with my daughter. I work when I want to work. I set my own work schedule. Ain't nobody stressing me out. So I'm the last person to feel sorry for. There are so many people on this earth that you need to feel sorry for before you feel sorry for me. I'm blessed. Feel sorry for, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. That's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. It was the megaphone. Hold on. Don't let the immoral door hit you. You won't be able to judge. You're right. I'm out too much bullshit. Have fun. That's fine. I do not care. Because bottom line is people like that, the only argument they have is about feelings. Oh, people should just do what they want to do. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect. Here's the thing about stuff like that. It doesn't affect you until it affects you. Like it doesn't affect you that people are out here having transactional relationships It doesn't affect you that people are out here sleeping around. It doesn't affect you when it's just a few people doing it or a small niche of people doing it. But it begins to affect you when it grows and grows and grows, and now everybody is doing it, and now you're trying to date, and people are just dating for the wrong thing. It does, like, these things eventually affect you. No, it doesn't affect me if one or two TV shows are showing gay sex every other scene. I can just turn off of those TV shows. When it begins to affect me is when all of a sudden in Hollywood that becomes the standard. And every time I turn on TV, no matter what I put on, unless I go put on PBS Kids, I have to watch that. Hell, they're even putting it in the kids' movies now. The kids ain't safe. And here's the thing, I have absolutely no problem with people being gay. I happen to believe that there are people who were just born gay. I think there are a lot of people who were influenced to be gay. And I feel like the people that were just born gay, y'all should, or even if you were influenced, who cares? You should be left alone. I think you should have access to the same health care. I don't think you should be fired from your job because you're gay. I really don't care whether or not you do or do not get married. What I don't want to do is turn on my TV and see y'all hunching. I don't even want to see straight people having sex every other scene. But I definitely don't want to see that every time I turn on the TV. It ain't guns that kills the person's motivation and purpose behind that weapon that ultimately carry out these heinous acts here. Yeah, there have been multiple this year. Again, this is in a country where they basically have a gun ban in Colombia. This year they've had multiple bombings and mass bombings, people dying in Cali, Colombia, and in Medellin. See, you can take away the gun. That doesn't stop people who want to commit terror from creating home bombs. And it's crazy. This is how much in a bubble that Americans are. There was an American who put a post in the EXPAT group, and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I guess this was all in reference to the Charlie Kirk situation. But he was like, "I'm so glad that I left America and I'm here in Colombia where I don't have to deal with this. Like it's not so politically motivated." And I'm like, "Bruh, do you speak Spanish? Do you watch Colombian news? Do you have Colombian friends? Do you know what the hell is going on around you?" Yeah, he even said in Colombia, you don't have to deal with all these assassinations. Bruh, a senator literally just got assassinated last month in Colombia. What are you talking about? And I love Colombia, don't get me wrong. But like, let's be for real. Every country has its political problems. And people who want to commit acts of terror, they don't care about whether or not guns are or not illegal. That ain't stopping nobody. That's why I said mentality in politics is why violence everywhere is up. Exactly. We have as Pastor Manning says, it's a God problem. People are more mentally ill now than what they've ever been. And you had that person, like I believe his name was Will, that just left. If what he believed was good for society, then at the very least we would be getting better, or we wouldn't have all this foolishness going on. Society is getting worse and worse and worse. People are on more SSRIs than what they've ever been. Loneliness is up. People aren't getting into relationships. People are at home watching pornography and jacking instead of going out and meeting people, getting into serious relationships. People are on edge. The amount of road rage that's going on in Texas is crazy. People don't trust each other anymore. Yet I'm supposed to believe this do what you want to do mentality is good for the society. No, y'all been allowed to do what y'all want to do, including me for a time. We've been allowed to do what we want to do for a while, and it's not working. It's not working. It's time to course correct. Point blank, period. Either that or we are going to self-destruct. We are on a path of self-destruction. That is where we are headed. We cannot continue on like this. Yeah, that started during Obama years, especially with Empire. Yeah, and it just got worse. My buddy sent me this. Sent you what? Are you talking about my live? Well, tell him I said thank you if that's what you're talking about, LMK. Guys, y'all hit the like button. I've been honestly, guys, I have to get up in 3 hours and work. So I really stayed on here longer than what I should have. I'll do a part 2 tomorrow. I will do a part 2. I will do an update. But I just wanted to come on here and my message is don't let this fill your heart with hate. Let it motivate you to fight back. But I still to this day, like if something were to happen, uh, a political assassination were to happen to somebody on the right, I would condemn it just like I did with Melissa Horton when it happened during the time it happened. I would condemn it. It's not right. I don't agree with political violence. People are allowed to disagree with you, and come with a better argument. Come harder if you don't like what they said. You know, have a battling of the mind, so to speak. But violence is not the answer when somebody is just talking to you. It's not. So what I'm going to say to the right is don't let this excuse you or absolve you of your responsibility to show self-restraint. But with that said, keep your foot on their necks when it comes to going to the voting polls, when it comes to speaking up, when it comes to calling your local senators. Everything helps at this point. Call them out. Don't just tiptoe around their feelings anymore. Those days are over. Republicans say guns are for hunting, sport, and self-defense because that's what they use them for. Liberals say guns are for killing people because that's what they use them for. Yeah, because liberals most of the time don't go hunting and doing it. But you're right. No, that's not. Those aren't liberal activities. I'm not saying some liberals don't do that. They're the minority. They are the exception, not the rule. Charlie is still alive because of this type of discussion. Good night, and thanks for hosting this discussion. Well, thank you, AV, and thank y'all for everybody who came and supported. Y'all smash the like button. I will come on with a part 2 tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Goodbye.